Here we are, first ever POV drive on the channel is a 2010 Honda CRZ. Now that is, as you'll have seen in the review, it's one of the first of its kind. They attempted to make a fun hybrid. Did it work? Sort of. You're just joining me today as the time I've really driven. The CRZ is just around town. So I've got a full day today. We're going to go out, I'm going to go for a drive. I'm going to get some photos and some videos. I'm going to film a bit of footage. But I thought I'd bring you guys along for the ride. You can see what the Honda CRZ's like for driving around town. This is where we are at the minute, my wonderful hometown of sunny Barbados, which isn't very sunny at the moment. It's a bit cloudy. To be fair, it copes quite well around town. I mean, it's based on the same underpinnings as the Jazz and the Honda Insight, so obviously that's a little city hatchback in a way, really. So it rides really well. The suspension, obviously, because it's set up to be quite sporty, it's quite firm, especially around town. In econ mode, you get the little green leaves at the bottom. Obviously, it changes the map setting a little bit, dampens down the throttle response, lightens up the steering, takes some of that weight out of it, makes it a little bit more numb. But it seems to work well around town. But for my personal preference, I mean, economy wise, unless you're a massive fan of playing that little game of seeing how many miles per gallon you can get in a car like this, in a hybrid or in an electric car. I do it every time I'm out in one. I have a little go, see on a little drive, what's the highest mile per gallon I can get. Now during my time with the car, I've averaged just over 41 miles per gallon, which isn't bad at all. I mean, it's a 1.5 petrol hybrid and it's meant to be fun. I mean, similar cars that you could say are rivals, like the Scirocco from this year, unless it's a diesel, you're not going to see 40 plus miles to the gallon out of it, especially not round town. But as you can see out the front, with the thinner A-pillars, the view is really nice and wide. The only problem is, and I will demonstrate if I can now with some parking, if there is any. Now this is a tight little street round Scarborough, handy that there is one there. Right, nothing in the mirrors, you get a good view out your mirrors. Pop it in reverse, you do have the reversing sensors, but look at the view out of the back there. It's very restricted because of the way that the boot lid is designed, which isn't great at all. And I think I've just knocked my camera, but it is just a quick example. Look in the rear view and behind. But as you can see, while I demonstrate here, the C-pillars are really chunky, part of the boot lid's there, so especially when you're driving and checking your blind spots over your shoulders, it's very, very restricted. And one thing that I have found annoying with the CRZ though is the split rear screen. Obviously you have the big chunky trim in between the two pieces of glass, you have the small little bit at the bottom for seeing out of, and then the bigger bit at the top. But especially at night, you struggle a little bit for visibility. Right, so let's head back out, go through town, back down the beach, and then head up towards Goathland. So far it's handled quite well around the town. It feels nicely set up and nicely weighted in the steering. The brakes are nice and sharp, not too bitey. What I do like is the steering wheel. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, just right. You get a nice grip, you can get a nice comfortable position, but it's also good for, obviously you get a good view of the clocks, driver display beneath it and through it. The gears, obviously the one that I'm in today is a 6-speed manual, and it's really nice. Honda have really nailed it with just everything, like Honda always do. Their manual transmissions, they've got that typical Honda notchiness to it, but the throw is short, it's precise, and it's just a pleasure to drive. It's electric power steering, but you do get a nice weight in it, and you get a nice little bit of feel, and especially in this with the way it's set up with its wider track and its more sporty drive focused for a little sports coupe. It's very, very good. Obviously, it's a really good cruiser. You get it up to 50, 60 miles an hour, and it rides really, really smoothly. It's actually a pleasure to drive. I'm really, really liking it. In fact, no, let me say this in other terms, and it'll be the first bleep ever on the channel. Love it. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm enjoying it. But I mean, even just coasting with the regen braking, building that power back up in the battery pack. The steering is just so fluid. There's such a nice feel to it. It's not light, and it's not, well, it's not too overly light. It's not too overly weighted. It's just perfect. The steering is so precise and direct. It's set up really, really well, and especially on these Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, it accentuates the CRZ's handling even more, and it's just a fantastic little thing. I mean, when they brought it out, like I covered in the review, if you've seen that already, a lot of people were disappointed with the CRZ. Obviously, it's a throwback to the old CRX from the 80s and 90s. Now, they've nailed it styling wise. I've had people stop me while I've had the car asking what it is, because I've not seen one before. It's quite a rare little thing. I've only seen a couple out on the road in a few years. But in terms of what they were trying to achieve with it, obviously Honda has been playing around with hybrids for a long time, especially Honda, and the hybrid setup that they've got with the CRZ works very, very well. But I think they did it too soon. I've covered this in the review already, so if you haven't watched it, I've linked it in the description below, so go and check that out. But if they'd have done it around 2016, 2018, or even if they attempted to recreate it now, they'd be onto an absolute winner. A lot of people were baffled, why did they go hybrid when they brought out this in 2009, 2010? And I'm kind of the same. I was on the fence, like, why a hybrid? Why not a true historic throwback present to the old CRX, the high revving VTEC 1.6? The way it handled, they've nailed it with this, with the steering, the handling, the setup, everything, nailed it. It's just the powertrain. A little bit more power and this would be perfect. But in this modern era, 2022, we're heading towards electrified vehicles. We're having a lot more fully electric and hybrid cars on the roads and plug-in hybrids. This works in 2022. You don't have to go fast to have fun. Yes, we have speed limits there for a reason, to keep us all safe, but with this, the feel, the feedback, the way it goes round a corner, the engagement you get with this manual transmission, even with a CVT or automatic, I reckon this would be a blast to drive. It's just the character that it has. It's like a little Jack Russell that your nan used to have. It used to be in a little annoying little thing, but it was so fun, and all you wanted to do was go out in the garden and play with it. This is what the CRZ's like, and I can't believe I'm comparing it to a Jack Russell. It's just one of those cars you just want to get in and drive. And obviously with it being a hybrid, you get really good economy, you get cheap running costs. It's Honda, so you get epic reliability, which they're renowned for across decades of their cars. Oh, just coming into Thornton, beautiful picturesque village, thatch cottage down there. If you ever come visiting here, if you're from UK and you're ever in Yorkshire and you're ever near North Yorkshire and you come to Thornton, go to Balderson's Ice Creams. They are one of the best ice creams I've ever had. Winner. But enough about ice cream. We're not having ice cream today, we're driving a car today. So for now, I shall leave you with that little snippet, and we shall head up onto the North Yorkshire Moors, and I'll catch you then. These are the roads that we wanted to be on. Up on the moors, on the way to Gotland. It's just perfect. Long sweeping bends, dips, straights. It's just fantastic. This CRZ is just perfect for these roads. For those that aren't overly keen on a big powerful coupe like a BMW or Audi or something a bit more upmarket and a bit faster, if you can be happy with something that's not the quickest, which it isn't, I mean, to be fair, it does have a lot of low down grunt. The torque comes in at 1500 RPM, and it's a lot of torque because it's got the little assist from the hybrid electric motor. It's got the power from the 1.5 litre petrol engine, and you don't even have to change down gears very often because it's got that torque to help push you out of a bend. But it's just the way it, oh my god, sport mode. Gear changes, the feel that you get, the feedback that it gives you, the fun that you can have throwing it round these B roads up on the moors is just heavenly. I absolutely love this little thing. It's hard not to fall in love with it when it handles the way it does. It's just so rewarding. Yes, it's not fast, doesn't have to be. It's just all about that driving feel and the sense that you get. I mean, even the interior adds to that. The way that everything is so driver focused, you've got everything right in front of that you need. The other controls are right nearby, so you're not taking your hands off the steering wheel for too long. The way these seats are set so low down in the cockpit. The seats themselves, they're not overly buckety. They do hook you nicely and keep you held in. It's just absolutely epic. The way that Honda have even placed the battery pack in the CRZ, it's low down in the car, so it gives it a lower centre of gravity. You sit lower in the cabin so that you get that sense of speed. I mean, I'm doing 60 mile an hour, you'd think you're doing 70, 80 with the way it feels, but it's not. I mean, it's not about speed and being able to go fast, the ability to go fast. It's not a quarter mile. This is the sort of car that you can just get in, you could fill it up with a tank of fuel, and you know that it's just going to keep going and going and going. You're going to get a great economy, and you're going to have a lot of fun while you're out having it. It's a great little cruiser. I mean, look at this is all about. Look at that view. And this car on these roads, they're just made for each other. This is what this was made for. Yes, people didn't appreciate it when it came out. Yes, it could do with a little bit more power, but it has its flaws. What car doesn't? But if you do like to get out and drive, and you like a little driver's car, something that you can have a bit of fun in, if you just love to drive and you love to get that feeling from a car that you can connect with and have that bond with, the CRZ is that. It is that car. You can get that driving satisfaction from this little Honda CRZ, and it is fantastic. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this POV driving video. It's my first one. Obviously I do have the GoPro head mount now, so I'll hopefully be able to do more of these videos for you. Little point of view driving videos. Massive thank you to Honda UK for giving me this opportunity. This is my first press car. I have had it for the week and I have loved it. So until next time, as always, see you.